Londres.
How much extra tax did you volunteer to pay last year? I'm guessing that for most people, they decided to pay the legal requirement. In my case, I may have paid slightly more through sheer bungling incompetence. But if you've got extra money that you want to give away, most of us would rather give it to a charity where we think it'll be well and wisely spent than hand it over to the state bureaucracy. The tax system is based on the idea that we pay the legal requirement, not that we pay an arbitrary amount determined by someone else. Now here's a hard thing that needs saying. That goes just as much for Google or Amazon or Starbucks as it does for you. You can hardly expect them to be volunteering more than they are required to pay by law. What I'm saying is that the anger over corporate tax avoidance is finding the wrong target. Of course, it's outrageous that there should be legal and massive tax avoidance, whether by individuals or by corporations. But the reason that that is happening is because of loopholes created by finance ministers in pursuit of a good headline. Every time a British Chancellor or one of his overseas counterparts decides that, let's say he wants to promote the film industry by creating some kind of tax perk, he automatically incentivizes the clever accountants who work for super rich individuals or for big multinationals to shield their assets inside that loophole. This is true whether it's someone like Jimmy Carr, who's done it on a personal basis, or whether it's a large firm. So the solution is to have lower, flatter, and simpler taxes, thus reducing the incentive for either corporations or people to avoid them. Think of the tax system like a sort of massive Swiss cheese, okay? Riddled with holes, and each of those holes represents some allowance, some incentive, or some other loophole for a specific industry. If we were to collapse all of those loopholes, we'd be able to lower the tax rate for everybody. And the flatter the taxes become, the more pointless it becomes to try and avoid them. The less time people spend hiring accountants and trying to be ingenious and outwit the government, and the more time they spend making things and selling things. The reason that we get this tax avoidance is because under Gordon Brown's chancellorship, we created such a complicated tax system that tax guidebook Tolley's is 11,500 pages. It doubled in length during his chancellorship, that inevitably you're going to make life easier for people who can afford very wealthy accountants and high upfront fees, which of course the rest of us can't. And here's the real problem. The less that those plutocrats pay, the more the bill rises for the rest of us, those of us who can't afford ingenious accountants with high upfront fees and can't put money in offshore trusts and do all the other clever things that are created by these perverse incentives. So the answer is to have lower and flatter taxes for everyone. And you know what? The amount paid by the rich will increase massively, both in proportionate and in absolute terms, because they'll start paying the same rates as everybody else instead of being able to have those loopholes. So yeah, let's make the rich pay more. Yes, let's make the big multinationals pay their share. Let's do it by having lower, flatter, simpler taxes.